we are here. Look around you. See the flowers in the garden? In the garden now we sit, bathed in lush plumage of change, bathed in the liberation of our people that is burgeoning and flowering and blooming all over the place in all of its color, in all of its dynamic splendor. Do you see the garden? Yes. This garden where liberation has flowered and bloomed, and we are here to water it evermore and say, grow freedom, grow liberation, because we will never, ever, ever be withered again. But as we walk this morning, we walk deeper and deeper into the garden of freedom where life and liberty and change and growth are taking place. But there are some that cannot go. There are some that dare not go. There are some who are not as free yet to go. And we strap them on our backs and we take them with us into freedom, knowing next year they will be here and they will be free as we stand free here today. Are you with me? Yes. And so in this moment, Mother, Father, infinite and everything Spirit, we reach out into the universe and know that it is here and it is now. Everything that we need is here and it is now. Thank you for protection, oh God, this morning. Thank you for laughter, oh God, catty laughter, oh God, this morning. As we march into this day, oh God, clothe us with the knowing of why we are truly here. We are here to expand the gap of freedom for our people. That's why we're here, oh God. And so love us and care for us and comfort us as we go forth into this day, oh God. And for those that could not be here, and for those who dare not be here, and for those who came to throw side-eye shade, we simply speak healing into those places. We simply speak blessing and abundance into those spaces, knowing that the same God that transformed us can transform anything. We give grace, thanks, mercy, and peace for this day. And I name it as a woman of faith, as a practitioner of the divine, as a spiritual being, and as a bad woman on the earth. I name this day good. I name this day great. I name this day powerful and overwhelming with blessing. And because we all agree in ample gratitude and abundance, we simply say, and so it is. Ashe. Ashe. Ashe is your personal power that you lend to the collective power. To strengthen the collective power, you must lend your personal power. Ashe. Ashe. And so it is. Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and give a warm welcome to Jen Out, our first performance of the morning. Now introducing the Gay Men's Course of Washington, D.C. Can I have your attention, please, everyone? Really quickly, I want to apologize for those who were offended earlier by the statement of sir and ma'am. I will make sure that this will continue to be an inclusive space. So those who were offended earlier, I take responsibility and I do apologize. Let's continue to have a good march. Now introducing to the stage, we have Sean Dimmons, the National Organizing Director of the National Trans Visibility March.
What's up, family? How y'all doing today? Who's ready to make history today with me? Let me say that one more time because I need a little bit more energy. Who's ready to make history at the first ever National Transgender Visibility March? That's what's up. So on behalf of the national organizing team, I want to welcome you to this march. We're gathered today, folks, for a lot of reasons. We're gathered, number one, we're declaring a state of emergency on this epidemic of trans violence against our sisters. There have been 19 black trans women murdered in 2019. Let me say that again. There have been 19 black trans women murdered thus far in the United States that we know of. So we're here to issue the call to stop killing black trans women. Stop killing black trans. Leave my sisters alone. While there are many ways that we are marginalized in this community, we're marginalized economically, in employment, in housing, healthcare, all of the above. We have a current administration trying to erase our very existence, but yet we are resilient. Look at us. We're here. We are from all over the United States, and we've come here to say what? We will not be erased. That's right. So I want to invite up now, because we are so excited to see you all. I want you to know this has been a labor of love. We've made some mistakes along the way. We know everybody wasn't happy, but what I'll tell you is we did everything we could to make this a positive experience for everybody. And so before I introduce your MCs for today, I want to bring up my colleagues so you can actually see the faces of the people who put this together. So if you're a national organizing team member, please join me on the stage. I want to see Marissa Miller, Lucky Alexander, Cameron Pizarro, Taylor Chandler, Greg Sindana, Mark Corman, Epiphany Don, Danny Barnhill Farrell, Shayla Demore, Minister Adalfi, if you're not busy, and I want to see my trans ambassadors. We had a whole bunch of people working across the country that said that were ambassadors for this march. Let them through the door. Let them through the door. Come on in. Let them through the door. Let them through the door. Get up here. Get up here. Get up here. Get up here. Come on. These are and Cordelia Donovan, our PR director. I want you to know these are the people who have worked tirelessly for over a year. When people thought we wouldn't do it, we did it. We continue. We persist. So we here. All right. So I want you to give it up to these hardworking, passionate, committed activists and allies. Give it up for your National Trans Visibility March organizers. All right. Thank y'all. I'm going to introduce our MCs now, and then I'm going to try to relax because I'm sweating and I'm tired and I've had 2 hours of sleep, but y'all giving me energy right now. Thank you. All right. So I'm gonna read off the bios for both of our MCs, and then I'm gonna turn it over to them for the rest of our program. Your first MC is Mia Sacha. Mia Sacha is a trailblazing community organizer and policy analyst with over a decade of experience advocating for racial, economic, environmental, and gender justice. Mia has a BA in political, legal, and economic analysis from Mills College, is an alumni of the Boards and Commissions Leadership Institute, and is the first trans graduate of Emerge, California. Bringing her experiences as a homeless youth and direct service provider, Mia has fought for a more equitable distribution of resources on over 10 committees in local government, including the Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services, Oversight and Advisory Committee, which oversees a $1 million budget for critical services for youth. While appointed to the San Francisco Youth Commission, Mia helped secure free bus passes for 40,000 low-income youth and co-created a landmark LGBTQ+ diversity training program for 9,000 city employees. Mia's stand-up comedy set was highlighted in the Huffington Post. She was a featured artist in the National Queer Arts Festival, and she has emceed events including San Francisco's Women's March that was attended by 100,000 people. Mia has also lectured at over 30 universities, and she was recognized as California Woman of the Year and San Francisco Pride Grand Marshal. Mia is currently the Employment Services Coordinator at the San Francisco LGBT Center and is a delegate in the California Democratic Party. Our second MC probably doesn't need too much of an introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. Teek Milan. Teek Milan has been an advocate in the LGBT community for over a decade. He is also a writer and consultant who carved a niche for himself as a media advocate and one of the leading voices for transgender equality. Teek shares his story of being transgender and how this informs his views on masculinity, race, and gender. He travels throughout North America, leading discussions on healthy modes of masculinity, inclusive leadership, and creating cultures of consent. He has lectured at several universities, including Harvard, Stanford, and Brown, on the importance of inclusion as a tool of innovation and outlines concrete strategies for productive engagement. Now I want y'all to give it up for these MCs. Come on to the stage, Teek and Mia.
What is up, beautiful people? Look at all of y'all. Damn. Y'all filled up this square quick. All right, y'all came out to show up and show out. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so proud to be a part of this community. We're going to have a great rally this morning, and we're going to have a great march. Thank you all so much for taking the time out to be here with us, to be here in unity, to be here in faith, to just support one another. So I want to talk about the reasons why we march. So many of us have come across the country in carpools and buses to be visible and to be heard. And there's no time like now for us to march. Our stories in pop culture have soared, as well as our existence in the public consciousness. Our stories are being told, but what is this all for? And what this is for is the reason why we march. We march to shift the culture of lovelessness and propaganda to truth and acceptance. Now, don't get me wrong. This ain't about begging people to see us or to love us, but standing in the way of people trying to invalidate our existence by pushing them to complicate theirs. Just being here in our homes, in our schools, in our places of employment, and in this square, being self-determined in who we are and how we are and who we choose to love pushes our oppressors and our loved ones to be vulnerable enough and courageous enough to see the spectrum of the human condition and hopefully to stand up in it. This is why we are here today. We rally and we march against the hundreds of pieces of anti-trans legislation that have been introduced to Congress in an attempt to strip us of our right to exist and live full and healthy lives. On October 8th, the first trans civil rights case will be argued before the Supreme Court. Legendary trans man and superstar attorney at the ACLU, Chase Strangio, says, all right, give it up for Chase. Chase says, we get this one shot to hold the line on what we have. It is not a justice line, and it is nowhere near enough, but if we lose this, it will hurt a lot of people. And that's enough for me to try to keep the protections we have and have relied on to secure health care and employment and housing and credit protections. This is why we are here, and this is why we march. We march for the 19 black transgender women that we lost this year and the years past. We march for Dana Martin, Jaslyn Ware, Ashanti Carmen, Malaysia Booker, Michelle Tamika Washington, B. Love Slater, Bailey Reeves, Pebble Adime Doe, Tracy Single, Kiki Fantroy, Delani Barry Stuckley, Brooklyn Lindsay, Zoe Spears, Chanel Surlock, Chanel Lindsay, Paris Cameron, Jayla Berryman, and Bubby Walker. This is why we march. We march for them. We march for the trans men and trans masculine folks who have been erased from our vibrant history and who are ignored. We march for Kyler Brodus, for Imani Henry, for Little Axe, for Flex Jones, for Alexander Goodrum, for Lewis Mitchell, for Jim McHarris, for Jordan Kofer. This is why we march. We march for all of our low disclosure and non-disclosure siblings and brothers and sisters who choose not to be here because that's their right. We march for them. We march for our elders and for our ancestors whose names we will never know. For our people in little towns and rural areas in middle America and the South who don't have the opportunity to be here or to be heard, we see you, we love you, and we fight for you. We march for our young people who are blueprints to the future and will make this world a better place than the ones we were born into. Now is our time, and it is always our time, and this is why we march. Thank you, y'all.
This is why we march. How many of y'all are tired? Anybody tired? Anybody? Okay. I'm just glad I ain't the only one. Okay. My name is Mia Satya, and I'm from a small town in Texas. Hello, anyone from the South? You know, growing up, as a Southern Baptist conservative Republican family, I never thought that I would be here. And going through conversion therapy, masculinity classes, pray the gay away, didn't work. I'm still here, I'm still queer, I'm still fighting for all of us. But I know that I was so lucky to survive high school, graduate high school. I ran away from Texas to move to California for a brighter future. I became homeless, I survived violence, I was unemployed, like so many trans people who come out to unsupported families. I know the statistics, I know y'all know the statistics, that trans people are more than 4 times likely to live on less than $10,000 a year than the average American. You know that 26% of LGBT kids, when they come out, are kicked out by their parents. Y'all know this. You know that 40% of the kids on our street who are homeless are LGBT. I've had a lot of privilege. I've had a lot of luck to get to where I am today. As a white woman, as someone with education, as someone who sometimes knows the right things to say in meetings. But I'll say that I still have depression, anxiety, and PTSD every single day. And I think that for a long time, I thought that that made me weak. But I know, and I hope you know, that these differences make us stronger. The ability to feel pain of a community that is disenfranchised is a power, and we need to tap into that. Ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is ignorance. So I keep doing this work even though I'm tired, even though many of us have been doing this activism for decades and decades. What gets me up out of bed in the morning is my haters. Because so many people tried to keep you from coming here today, from thriving today, from surviving. But we get out of bed because we dream of a better future. And so, I know that a couple of people might not create a national movement. But a couple more people, we build momentum. you know, there's been a couple of things that I've been involved in locally where folks said, y'all ain't gonna do that. No, that's not gonna happen. That's not politically feasible. It's not economically feasible. But when we had a strategy, when we came together, when we formed coalitions and listened to those who are most impacted and marginalized, we got shit done. And I know that we will get shit done together today. So this is why we march.
All right, Mia. All right, now we're going to get this rolling. We have a bunch of amazing speakers for you today. So first up, we have Sheila Alexander Reed, who is director of the D.C. Mayor's Office of LGBTQ Affairs.
Her work to shed light on issues affecting the voiceless among us cuts across every line that could divide us: gender, race, socioeconomic status, education level, and sexual orientation. She was formerly the director of strategic engagement at the Washington City Paper, vice president of strategic initiatives at the Washington Blade, founder and former executive director of the Women in the Life Association, as well as host of Inside Out, DC's only FM LGBTQ radio show.
In addition, Sheila formerly served as a vice president of the Gertrude Stein Democratic Club and represented Stein on the D.C. Democratic State Committee. Sheila has championed causes for young people, women of color, the LGBTQ community, and survivors of domestic violence. Please give it up for Sheila Alexander Reed.
Good morning. Woo! What a beautiful sight. So, thank you for inviting this black cisgender lesbian to come speak real quick. I'm going to speak on behalf of another black cisgender woman, Mayor Muriel Bowser. Hello and welcome to Washington, D.C., not only the seat of our nation's capital, but also home to over 700,000 residents. I am Sheila Alexander Reed, here representing the mayor as director of the Office of LGBTQ Affairs. DC is distinct in having an entire cabinet agency devoted to the causes, experiences, and issues that the LGBTQ residents face on a daily basis. Our office fights each and every day to make sure all our residents can lead a safe and thriving life. Visibility is good, but visibility is just the first step. Let's be honest. We see today politicians and presidential candidates rattle off things like Trans Lives Matter and list the names of those we lost too soon from our community. Yes, say their name, but then take action. Let's say it again. Say their name, but then take action. We are here in D.C., committed to fighting for trans rights in all aspects of government, from ensuring an ID card represents you, to preventing housing discrimination, to making bathrooms accessible and safe, while still fighting to close the employment and income gap in the trans community. I'm proud to stand with the mayor who knows that in this time, we must fight for every right, as one by one, our hard-fought rights as human beings are under attack. In that spirit, I'd like to present this march, this fabulous assembly of activists and allies, with this proclamation. Whereas the National Trans Visibility March will gather in the nation's capital to raise awareness of discrimination, violence, and harassment, high rates of unemployment, homelessness, and negative health outcomes affecting transgender people. And whereas this event raises awareness of the Equality Act, which protects lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people from discrimination in employment, education, public accommodations, and housing. And whereas the National Trans Visibility March is being held to bring awareness to the new rule issued by HUD, which allows housing discrimination against trans people at federally funded homeless shelters, and forces trans women to share bathrooms and sleeping quarters with cisgender men. And whereas the National Trans Visibility March supports the healthcare rights law, which prohibits discrimination in health coverage and care by federally funded facilities, and whereas the National Trans Visibility March is demanding an end to the trans military ban, which will affect 15,000 troops currently enlisted in the military, and to reinstate protections for transgender kids in schools. And whereas the National Trans Visibility March is declaring a state of emergency regarding the epidemic of murder of black trans women and demanding appropriate police response. And whereas transgender Americans deserve to live their lives fully with dignity and respect. Now, therefore, I, the mayor of Washington, D.C., do hereby proclaim September 28, 2019 in Washington, D.C. as Trans Visibility Day. Give yourselves a round of applause, and give a round of applause for Mayor Bowser. Woo! All right, now I'm going to speak just for a moment for a black transgender woman who's been very instrumental in bringing DC to where it is. This doesn't happen in a vacuum, and it doesn't happen overnight. Several trans black women are responsible for the progressive discrimination protections and rights that we have in DC. One of them is Earlene Budd. Earlene Budd was not feeling well this morning. She sent me a text around 7 a.m. She was very touched by getting an award last night at the Torch Awards. And because she's not feeling well, she asked me to speak on her behalf. And I said, Earlene, what do you want me to say? She didn't respond. That's because she's not feeling well. So I found a few words from another black woman named Maya Angelou. And I've adapted a little bit. And this is for Earlene Budd. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. Whew. My ID may not match my gender expression, but still I'll rise. My sisters around the world targeted by violence, but still will rise. My undocumented sisters have no legal papers, but still will rise. HIV positive for years and still will rise. Employment discrimination rampant, but still will rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Let's have a great day, and let's make them not just list names, but take action.
Thank you so much, Sheila. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we're going to keep this show on the road. All right, so first, we want to say thank you to all of our sponsors. We'd like to say thank you to Howard Brown Health, to NYC Pride, to AHF Flux, to the Tide Foundation, and to HRC. So next up, we are going to have Alfonso David. Alfonso David is an accomplished and nationally recognized LGBTQ civil rights lawyer and advocate, and he is the current president of the Human Rights Campaign. Mr. Davis is the first civil rights lawyer and the first person of color to serve as president of HRC in the organization's nearly 40-year history. So please give it up for Alfonso David.
Good morning. It's a great morning and a sad morning as we gather here in the capital of the greatest country on earth. There is a crisis raging across our country. It's a crisis that is shattering dreams and shattering lives. It is a crisis that has been largely overlooked by the media. It's a crisis that has been met by inaction by many people in our cities and our towns. It is a crisis that has taken the lives of more than 150 transgender people in the past 5 years, most of them black transgender women. It is a crisis that none of us can ignore anymore. We have to stand up. We have to speak out. We have to demand action. Talking about it is not enough. We have to demand action because we need to prevent another life from being taken. Now, you know that we are in crisis when people will videotape a black transgender woman being beaten, when someone can stand on the street and videotape someone being beaten, and then only a few weeks later, that woman is murdered. For those of us who are gay, who are lesbian, who are bisexual, who are queer, who are straight, we have to stand up for the transgender community. We have to stand up for the transgender community and stand up for them as if they are our family. Because you are our family. And don't let anyone else tell you different. The transgender community is family. And together, we will beat back the hate and the indifference that we're seeing on our streets. I want to first thank and give gratitude to all of the organizations and all of the activists that have been doing this work on the ground for years. They didn't come here yesterday. You have been doing this work for years, and I want to thank you for doing it day in and day out. And I also want to ask you to fight harder than you've been fighting, to push our elected officials, to push our leaders, to make sure that they address this crisis with actual programs that work. No longer saying, I'm going to issue a piece of paper, I'm going to issue a press release, I'm going to issue a tweet. Issue something that actually means something and do something that actually has an impact on the lives of people that are being affected. Now, as you heard, I'm the new president of the Human Rights Campaign. I've been in this job for 2 months, 8 weeks. And I'm pledging to all of you that we're going to do something. Yes. And thank you. We're going to do something, and you hold me accountable. That's how it's supposed to work. After this speech, hold me accountable in 6 months. Hold me accountable in 1 year. Hold me accountable in 2 weeks. But don't just hold me accountable. Hold every single elected official, every single leader accountable. We cannot wait. We should not wait. Lives are on the line. We all know that. And I want to make sure all of you speak up and speak up loudly because the transgender community needs us. And we need to make sure that all of us are there for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfonso. We also want to thank a couple more of our amazing sponsors for putting this show on. Trans Tech Social Enterprises, might have heard of it, International Court System, United Church of Christ, Southern AIDS Coalition, GLAD, Janssen, APLA Health, Headcount, The Brown Boy Project, SunTrust Banks, Napo Pharmacy, St. James Infirmary, Black, Gifted, and Whole. Now, Our next speaker is an amazing social activist, entrepreneur, and writer. She has been recognized for her activist work by Hillary Clinton, The Advocate, Essence, Cosmopolitan, and Yahoo. She sits on the board of a number of gender family health rights organizations, including the Human Rights Campaign. Patterson was appointed by the United Nations as a champion of change. She lives in Brooklyn, New York, where she co-parents her 5 children with love, education, and family solidarity. Let's give it up for Jody Patterson.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you. I'm Jody, and this is the first time I've spoken at a rally. I've never marched and spoken at a rally. For the past 20 years, I've been doing what I thought was best for my family. I've been raising 5 smart, educated, proud, confident black children. I thought that was my main purpose. And then about 8 years ago, something happened. Someone said something to me. My child, Penelope, changed my life, changed the trajectory of my family, changed my purpose, changed my reality. Penelope was only 3 at the time, but there were reoccurring nightmares, nail biting until bloody, bullying. Penelope was pushing brothers, pushing sisters, pushing children on the playground. Penelope was a ball of anger, and I kept trying to fix it. I thought maybe more love, more stories. I thought maybe it was a dairy allergy. Took out dairy from the diet. I was trying to do whatever a mother could do to fix the situation. And then one day I asked the question. I said, Penelope, why are you so angry? I had never asked. I said, why are you so angry? And Penelope said, because everyone thinks I'm a girl, Mama. And I'm not. I'm a boy. I thought that I was watching a feminist in action. I thought that Penelope, at only 3, was realizing the way that this world works in favor of men most of the time. And so in my support, I said, Penelope, however you feel is fine. If you feel like a boy, act like a boy. And Penelope quickly corrected me. No, Mama, I don't feel like a boy. I am a boy. I am a boy. Today, 8 years later, Penelope is fine. I realized that I had to transition. I had to change my bias. I had to unpeel all of the things that I had learned about being a woman, about being a man, about being a human. I had to change my ways from what I thought was to what the reality is. And the reality is that as a cisgender woman, I was blind to the LGBT community. I was blind to trans lives. I was blind to my own son. I didn't even see him, right? I missed 3 years with my son. And over the past 8 years, I've made it my business to change myself, right? To change myself. Let my son and my children, I have a cis child, I have a trans child, I have a genderqueer child, I have a few that are undecided, I have an atheist, I have a scientist. Let them be. Let me change myself. Let me change my ways and my language. Let me change where I spend my money and the companies I support. Let me change the schools that I speak at. Let me change my profession. I left the fashion industry, and I decided that I want to be an active ally. I sat on Capitol Hill, and I lobbied with our elected officials trying to change legislature. I now take the position of chairman of the board of the Human Rights Campaign. Thank you. And I want us to redirect our money, Alfonso. I want us to redirect our money that was allocated just for gay white men, and I need to put it towards trans people, black trans boys, black trans girls, queer people of color. That money needs to go in that direction, right? My activism is about shifting the power. My father used to tell me, baby girl, you weren't born to be pretty. You were born to change the status quo, to dream forward. And I tell Penelope today, don't settle for Instagram fame or pedestals or magazine visibility or gold coins. You change the damn paradigm. You shift the power. So America needs to be better. right now better. Right? I'm not sure if America is ready to peel back all that we've wrapped around the transgender community. Transphobia, xenophobia, racism, sexism, economics. But Penelope is ready. My son is ready. Baynard Rustin was ready. Sylvia Rivera was ready. James Baldwin was ready. Dr. Maya Angelou was ready. I'm ready. You're ready. Right? So thank you for inviting me today to share this space with you. My friends have made me better. Hope, Teak, Dominique Jackson. They tap me on my shoulder and say, no. Think about that a little bit more. Sit back and relax. Follow our lead. I'm here to follow your lead. I'm here to march with you. I'm here to listen. I'm here to course correct. So let's march together.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is AC Doomlau, and my pronouns are they, them, and theirs. I am a proud trans, non-binary, queer Filipino American, and I would like to quickly extend a warm welcome to not just our brothers and sisters, but siblings, to speak up for my non-binary, gender-expansive, two-spirit, and intersex siblings and say, you are seen today and you belong. I'm here representing the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund, or TILDEF. We are a national organization which works on impact litigation, the Name Change Project, and community engagement. We recently filed an amicus brief for the upcoming October 8th Supreme Court case, Harris Funeral Homes, for Amy Stevens, a transgender woman who was wrongfully fired from her job for being herself. And so TILDEF is proud to represent and support this march, and I want to thank a few sponsors: the San Diego LGBT Community Center, DC Health, Black AIDS Institute, Anita Pharmacy, MAC, Fenway Institute, Whitman Walker, and the Center for Black Equity. And I am so proud to welcome Marissa Miller, lead strategist for the National Trans Visibility March, who will introduce our next speaker. Thank you so much.
When I say trans, you say power. Trans, 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 trans. Yes. Listen, I have been talking for 365 days about the Trans Visibility March. I tried not to be on the program, and they said absolutely not. But thank you to everyone that is here. We were in Myrtle Beach at the Positive Women's Network, and it was a whole lot of stuff going on, and people weren't getting along, and so some stuff had went on at the lunch plenary, and I said, well, we're going to go to Araya Lester's room. Now, I don't know why Araya Lester had a bigger room than everybody, but she had a bigger room than everybody. And so we went to Araya Lester's room, and this young lady named Lynn out of Atlanta said, there needed to be a trans march. Let me be very clear, this is not my vision, this is hers. This is not my vision, this is yours. We just had the ability through a fantastic organizing team to make it happen. They told me to stay on task. So Lynn Diane Prince Morrison was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, where she lived up until the age of 29. In 1997, she relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, and transitioned in 1990. She has worked in the city of Alabama for 20 years, a loyal member of SNAPCO and Legender out of Atlanta. Lynn is the leader and has fought hard to address the violence against Black trans women. She knows the hardship of Black trans women firsthand, and this is why she is marching. She believes the National Trans Visibility March will be the central, increasing awareness about trans people and gaining support for our rights as Americans and as humans. Will you help me by raising your fist all across here? And will you welcome my sister, Miss Lynn Morrison? Hey, everybody, how y'all doing today? Where my girls at? Where my girls at? We here in Atlanta. We're here in D.C. I'm used to being in Atlanta, y'all. We're here in D.C. Again, where are my girls? Here we go. I did this and wanted this because I love all of you. It's about loving each other, honoring each other, trusting each other for what we need. We needed this march. We've been killed across the globe, more so here in America, where you're supposed to be free, to be who you are, the free and the brave. Ain't nobody no more braver than us, than I can tell. Nobody. Nobody can endure the injustice that we have and still stand strong. Nobody. It's about us today, us tomorrow, and from here on out. Our time is now, not yesterday, not the other day, but now. We're going into the future. I want you to come with me. Stand with me into the future. Evolution comes at time of hardship. People will fall to the wayside. People will argue. They will vent. They will hate. But nothing destroys that more than love. Nothing. So if you love us, honor us, stand with us. If you're an ally, be one. Be one. When a girl is hurt, killed, burned in a car like she's nothing, I need y'all to stand up for us and nothing else. We're human, we're beautiful, and we're here. Trump, I want you to understand, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stand strong, firm, and we're going into the future. Either you can stand with us or you're against us. And so far, we can tell that you're not on our side, that you're an enemy than a friend of me. And those are worse, because we don't know where you're coming from. At least a friend of me, we can tell about judge who you are. We don't know. But you've shown us with your actions. Now we're going to show you ours with our actions from this day forward. I call a truce, and I'm meeting this. I'm holding every girl in this room, in this space, to task. A truce to say no more backbiting, arguing, fussing, arguing for no reason. You are your sister's keeper. I need you to be that, because no one else will. They will push you, shun you, not love you. But we can love each other beyond words, and we have. I call you to task, my people, my sisters. I call for true solidarity amongst us. We've never had that. They think we're weak. They think we're too hurt and too damaged. To have a solidarity, to have a unity that we've never had. We can show these people what true love looks like, what true solidarity looks like, what true honoring of each other looks like. It ain't about who's passable or who's not. Because at the end of the day, they want us all dead. All of us. So stand with me into the future. I love you. I've done this for you. I dreamed of this moment for you. Not for me, but for you. And we're here. So I need each and every person from this day forward to spread the word about the march, how empowering it was, so next year we can have 3 times the number. I need y'all to share this on your Facebook page, any page that you got, and folks are willing to listen. Share it. Let them know. Trans power is here. Trans power is love. And our slogan I'm declaring is I am my sister's keeper. That part. I love you, and let's have this march, y'all.
Thank you, Lynn, for your leadership. Let's all be our siblings' keepers. So we want to thank some more of our sponsors. We have Fiscal Nations Foundations, Media Slay TV, Print Media The Fight Magazine, Torch Awards host NGLCC, PR Cordelia Donovan Inc., PR Jaeger Public Relations from San Francisco, PR Capital Public Relations. And now, for our next speaker. Oh wait, one more announcement. You are encouraged to post on Facebook, on Instagram. What's the official hashtag? Trans March on DC. Trans March on DC. Okay, now you know. You won't forget it. Okay, our next speaker is Epiphany Dawn. She is a writer, advocate, published life model, and entrepreneur who identifies as a non-binary femme. She offers a unique perspective to creative expression and uses her gifts to uplift her community. Please join me in welcoming Epiphany Dawn.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I have a message for those who want to silence us because of who we are. I am the future. The future flows through me. Neither he nor she, despite the femininity you see. Navigating this world as a person instead of a gender has been an intense experience. Humanity. Are you human enough to care about a person instead of a gender or a body part or clothing? I could figure this figure is a figure of my imagination. Imagine a world where my they-ness isn't the subject of every conversation, where our bodies aren't politicized, but recognized as being attached to a living, breathing being who matters. Divine beings in captivity, you can police my body, but my mind is free. I'm not here to justify my existence or make cis people understand what it's like to be me. I'm here to demand to be respected and valued as a soul of divinity and a creation that was perfectly and purposely created in love. Most of us have strived to be easily digestible, to be understood, but I say, make them gag. May they choke on every word that they use to try and invalidate us. We exist. We're not cis. Get used to this. Thank you.
Hold on. That's my bad. I'm up here taking pictures. Not paying attention. My bad. All right, so give it up for Epiphany Dawn. One more time, please. Thank you so much. All right, so let's real quick give a shout out to some more of our sponsors. We have the Virtual March Trans Tech in the house. All right, the California Trans City of West Hollywood, volunteers from Capital Pride, logistics from LRG, AIDS United, policy for AIDS United folks, youth engagement, and the website Invisible Men. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce our next speaker, who is Rodrigo Hang Layton. Yes, I got it. Okay. Rodrigo is the Deputy Executive Director for Policy and Action at the National Center for Transgender Equality. As a transgender man, his wide-ranging experience in the LGBTQ movement has covered fields in organizing, leadership development, fundraising, and media advocacy. He previously worked with Freedom for All Americans, for GLAAD, the Transgender Law Center, Gender Justice LA, and the National LGBTQ Task Force. Please give it up for Rodrigo.
Thank you for that introduction, and thank you all of you for being here today and the organizers for putting this incredible event together. Like you said, my name is Rodrigo Hangleitonen. It is very hard to pronounce. You can just call me Rigo. And I'm the Deputy Executive Director at the National Center for Transgender Equality. Yes, thank you. Today's march is about the power of visibility to get us equality. At a lightning pace, Americans have seen our power at work as transgender people have moved from a side issue that our neighbors didn't even know a lot about to a priority in the halls of power and in presidential campaigns. A community long forced into the darkness is now finally stepping out into the daylight. But what the grassroots organizers of this march know, and what all of you know, is that progress for any of us is not enough unless it is progress for all of us. Yeah. Progress is not victory. The power of our voices and our presence here in the nation's capital is limitless. And each of you is changing the minds of people in your communities, in your families, in your workplaces, and in your schools every day. But our work is not complete if it doesn't end the marginalization and criminalization of the most vulnerable in our community. No trans person should have to fear arrest just for walking down their own street. No trans person should be denied medical care, inside or outside of a prison. No trans migrant should be deported back to a country with the violence that they are seeking to escape. And as the Supreme Court will hear on October 8th, no one should have to fear losing their job just because they don't fit their employer's definition of what a man or a woman is supposed to be. Visibility is one of the most powerful tools we have to solve these problems, but it is only one tool. What we in the trans movement need is not only visibility, but justice. Justice for trans kids kicked out of their homes. Justice for trans adults denied every opportunity afforded their cisgender peers. Justice for the lives lost and communities shattered by this epidemic of violence. What trans people know is true justice has very little to do with police or prisons. True justice is about healing the damage done and empowering survivors of prejudice to build our own future, lead our own lives, and strengthen our own communities. It's about economic equality as much as legal equality. True justice looks like safe and affirming homes, fair and affordable housing, and freedom from the fear of prejudice and violence. In short, true justice looks like love. Yes. Living in this country under this administration can make these goals feel impossible. But every day, an army of trans advocates and allies like all of you wake up ready to fight for that justice. Every day, we wake up determined to make our voices heard in city councils, state capitals, and the halls of Congress. We won't stop until every single trans person has the life they deserve, because each and every one of you deserves that kind of love. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Y'all, I gotta apologize. I'm already lying to y'all. The official hashtag, the real official one, is March the number 4 trans equality. But y'all already knew that. Y'all real smart, aren't you? You knew that. Okay. So we also want to thank our honorary partners, which are trans-owned and or operated nonprofits or companies. The Trans Latina Coalition, Unique Women's Coalition, Trans Ohio, Trans SoCal Inc., Trans Sister Radio, Take My Calls, please. So our next speaker is a badass poderosa, a fighter for our community. You might have heard of her before. Bambi Salcedo. Bambi is a national and international transgender Latina woman who received her master's degree in Latina Studies from California State College in Los Angeles. Bambi is the president and CEO of the Trans Latina Coalition, a national organization that focuses on addressing the issues of trans Latinas in the U.S. You've seen her in Latina Magazine, People in Espanol, Cosmopolitan, the Los Angeles Times, the Out 100, and a lot of other lists of important people. She's one of the hardest working women I know, and she has a big heart. Can we please give it up for the one and only Bambi Salcedo?
What's up, beautiful people? I say, what's up, beautiful people? I say, what's up, beautiful people? Primero que nada, quiero darle gracias a mi poder superior por darme la oportunidad de estar aquí con ustedes. También quiero honrar la tierra en la cual estamos aquí hoy en día y pedir permiso a la gente de esta tierra que me permita decir unas palabras. I know that it was hard for some of you to understand, but it is a customary thing that I do, that I honor my higher power for the opportunity to be here with you today. I also honor the land where we're standing on today. And I also ask permission to the people of this land to allow me to say a few words. Thank you so much for the invitation to the organizers of this historic march. I'm very humble to be here, but I am here for us to be reminded of who we are, of the power that we have, not just individually, but also collectively. As we know, our lives are attacked every single day, but our resistance is even more stronger than the violence that we experience. Is it not? I say, is our resistance stronger than the violence that we experience? Is it not? I say the violence that we experience is pretty fucked up, but our resistance is stronger. Is it not? I want to obviously honor our beautiful and amazing young people who are here with us today. I also want to honor our elderly. And I want to honor our indigenous people who have been here before all of us. It's important that we honor and we support each and every one of us. Because all of those motherfuckers that are out there in those buildings are always talking shit about us. They want to erase us. They want to kill us. But today we're saying, fuck you. Today we say, fuck you. What do we say today? Fuck you. What do we say today? Fuck you. We're here and we're going to be here. We're going to continue to be here and we're going to continue to lead this movement. Don't let any other people tell you any different. We are leaders in our own right. And we are going to continue to fuck shit up, whether they like it or not. If we don't get no justice, then we don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, then you don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, if we don't get no justice, then they don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, then they don't get no peace. I also want to be reminded that the police is not our friends. The politicians that are in office, they are there because we put them there. And we know that 2020 is coming and more elections are coming. And we need to hold these people accountable. If they're not doing their job, if they're not working for the people, we are the people. Then we need to get them out those fucking offices. Thank you so much. Let's get this shit rolling. And own your power and say, fuck the people who continue to oppress us. I say, fuck them people to continue to oppress us. Thank you.
Baby did not come here to play with y'all today. All right. Keep it moving. Okay, so again, with some of our amazing sponsors, we have Gender Health Center, TG Detroit, Black Trans Women Inc., TIG, the Trans Inclusive Group, Invisible Men, the Alpha Omega Kappa Frat, and the Alpha Omega Nu Frat. All right? Our next speaker is the amazing, the legendary Carter Brown. Carter Brown, through his lived experience as a black trans man, Carter Brown was compelled to found the Black Trans Man Inc. to advocate for the empowerment of transgender people through community building and organizing to address the disparities faced by black trans people. His work, along with BTMI's subsidiary Black Trans Advocacy Coalition, is based in peace building, community education, public policy initiatives, empowerment programs, and direct services. Please give it up for Carter Brown.
Thank you. Y'all look so good. I'm so glad to see the turnout. When the Equality Act was introduced in 2015, I committed to being a strong advocate for it because of my own experience and devastation of being fired from a job for being transgender. It was an awakening to learn that it was perfectly legal to fire me for being transgender, and it still is today. I don't have to tell y'all that we're living in a hostile and harsh political climate to be a trans or non-binary person. I don't have to tell y'all what their agenda is. We all see clearly that their agenda is to erase us from society. We all see clearly that their agenda is to continue to discriminate against us in housing until even more of us are homeless. We all see their agenda to deny us protections in employment until even more of us are unemployed. We see that they just don't want us to make it out here. They don't want us in any public spaces. They don't want us in the military. They want to suppress us, and they don't want us to live. We are under attack by leadership that clearly thinks that we are not valuable and that our lives are disposable, but they are wrong. And they have no idea how wrong they are about us. Am I right? And just as they feared, we too have an agenda. The trans agenda is an American agenda, and the trans agenda is this: we want equality for all of us. And we stand here today united in full visibility to say that we will not be erased. We are here, we have been here, and we will be here until there is equality for all of us. So they can stop with the hate rhetoric and the scare tactics, because we are not a fearful people. They can stop trying to shut us down and shut us up, because we are not a silent type of people. They can stop trying to discourage us and bully us, because we are not a timid people. They cannot put us away to live in their shadows, because we thrive in our visibility. We too are the people of the United States that were promised equality, and it's long time overdue to make good on that promise. It's time to stop the attack and pass the Equality Act. To the transphobic, anti-equality Republicans, until we receive full protections in housing, we demand that you stop your attacks and pass the Equality Act. Mr. President, until we all receive full access and protections in public spaces and in health care, we demand that you stop the attack and pass the Equality Act. And to all of our haters, until we receive equal protections in employment, we demand that you stop the attack and pass the Equality Act. Stop the attack and pass the Equality Act. Stop the attack, pass Equality Act. Stop the attack and pass the Equality Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Carter Brown. So, we also would like to thank BTAC, Nested Beads of Path, Ginger Justice LA, Black Trans Men Inc., Trans Can Work, Kappa Iota Sigma Sorority. KISS. Yes. So our next speaker has spent a lot of time in San Francisco, where I'm from. He is the Chief Executive Officer at Freedom for All Americans, and he's also a proud gay trans man. Mason Davis has been fighting for trans rights since 1998. He was the executive director of the Trans Law Center for over a decade, where he grew it into the largest national trans rights organization. Mason is a published author, and his writings have been published in various books and journals, including Sexual Orientation and Gender Expression and Social Work Practice. Join me in welcoming Mason to the stage.
Hello, beautiful people. I gotta say, you all look really good today. When I came out about 22 years ago, I don't know where time has passed. To be honest, I would never imagine we would be here together, all of us, celebrating our visibility and our humanity together in Washington, D.C. I'm curious, how many of you at some point in your life felt like you were alone, that you were the only trans person ever to exist in the world? Me too. Look around, though, today. You are not alone. You have not and you will not be erased. You are here. You are alive. And you really are beautiful. I don't take any of that for granted, to be honest. My address book is full of the names of trans people who are no longer with us. Trans people like Alexis Rivera in LA, who would love to be here today. I know many of us have people like that close to our hearts who would love to be here and could not, and were taken away from us so early, way too early. So I want to thank you all for being who you are. And I also want to give a special thanks to the trans women, especially the Black and Latina trans women in Los Angeles. We all have our communities that we come from. For me, the trans women of color in LA taught me to be an activist. They taught me about resilience and community and love. Today is incredibly historic. We're all here today. I suspect this is not the last time we'll gather in DC, because now that we know our power and our voice, that cannot be taken away. And yet, while we've made so much progress, and I've seen it over the past 22 or so years, I remember times when I would be the only trans person in the room, or the only trans guy in a room of trans women. I remember when I first started working at the Transgender Law Center, in fact, somebody told me, listen, Mason, now you have to know that every time you go in a room, people are going to assume you're crazy because you're the trans person. Today, though, I think about the amazing wins that we've had. I think about the fact that 68% of voters in Massachusetts last year stood up and voted for transgender rights. Think about all the amazing organizations and leaders all around the country and the world. But I also know that while we've made progress, we still have so many challenges ahead of us. How many of you, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand one more time, how many of you have experienced discrimination or violence or harassment at any point in your lives? This is why we need to be visible. You all may not be able to see each other. Almost everybody raised their hands. Discrimination at work, harassment on the street, violence against especially Black and Latina trans women is an epidemic in our country. We cannot and we will not sit down and take this quietly, which is why you are hearing so many people, and we will continue to hear us, call on the Supreme Court on October 8th when they're hearing an incredibly important case about whether or not we deserve and have protections. Call on them to affirm our basic humanity and dignity and our rights just like any other person in this country. We also call on Congress to finally pass full, comprehensive, strong LGBTQ non-discrimination protections. It is really a shame and shameful that we do not have these yet in the US. It's time to fix that. Let's do it. And let's really lean into our visibility, because the way we change this is actually by being our fabulous selves. And there's no right way to be trans. There's no one right way to be gender nonconforming. Whatever that is for you, that is right. And I urge all of you to really claim and step into your power. Go meet with your local elected official. Go meet with your senators or your congresspeople while you're here in DC or back home, and let them know, I am here, I am proud, and I deserve the same rights as everybody else. Get it done. I want to do just a special call out too for the trans men and masculine of center folks out there. A lot of us can pass and kind of be invisible pretty easily. Testosterone is a powerful thing. I really want to do a special shout out to my brothers and encourage all of you to continue to be out, to be visible, to stand there for your rights, because we know a lot of our brothers are doing self-harm, attempting suicide. They need to see us. And our trans sisters need to know as well that we stand in solidarity with them to fight against discrimination and harassment. Please join us at the steps of the Supreme Court on October 8th, where we're going to be rallying for our rights, and keep being the fabulous people you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mason. All right. We're going to keep it moving now. I have the honor of introducing the iconic and the legendary Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. Congresswoman Norton, now in her 15th term as the Congresswoman for the District of Columbia, is the chair of the House of Subcommittees on Highways and Transit. She serves on two committees, the Committee on Oversight and Reform and the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, and has been a longtime ally. Please give it up for Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Look, I have just stopped by to thank our transgender community. I want to thank you for today's National Trans Visibility Day. You cannot free yourself from discrimination if you remain invisible. I especially thank you for today's historic Trans March, because what this means is that you are coming out to the nation, allowing millions of Americans who support the trans community to embrace you. Look, we have passed the Equality Act in the House of Representatives. That shows you that the House has said, you got to help us say it to the Senate too, we will not stand for discrimination against trans Americans in any form and any fashion. As a native Washingtonian, I can tell you that I regard the failure to pass, I regard the LGBTQ community no different from my own community when the Congress made us go to segregated public schools. I regard this community no different from the work I did on voting rights and public accommodations in Mississippi to fight for equality for everybody when I was a student in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. There's no difference That was then, this is now, this is a new form of discrimination. It must go too. That is why I continue to fight for equality and against violence experienced by our own trans community in D.C. That's why I am a member of the LGBTQ Equality Caucus in the House, and I bring you their greetings as well today. That is why I speak not only for myself, but for thousands of House members who also want you to know they stand with you this morning. That's why I am a founding member of the Transgender Equality Task Force of the Congressional LGBTQ Equality Caucus. We formed specifically to fight the Trump administration's plans to redefine gender, specifically to exclude the trans community. That's why I held my own town meeting here in the District of Columbia, disgusted that there were murders of trans people here in the district, and yet they were invisible. That's why after that town meeting, hearing directly from the trans community, I wrote the U.S. Attorney twice until she finally set up a special U.S. Attorney to deal with violence against our own trans community. I will keep this fight going until we chase violence against transgender people from our community, killings from our community, bring total and complete equality to our transgender community in our city. You have not given up. I am here today to assure you, neither will Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we also want to give a big thank you to DeJourn International, Team Racine, Javon Wolf, Trans in Color, T-Buddy, and Epiphany. So I'm very excited to introduce our next honorable guest. So back in 2014, you might have seen this little video going around the internet of a TED Talk released on International Trans Day of Visibility, where a beautiful woman named Gina Rosero came out as a proud trans woman at the annual TED conference. She is born and raised in Manila, Philippines. She is a model, a public speaker, producer, and trans rights advocate. She is the founder of Gender Proud, and she's been invited to speak at the White House, World Economic Forum, and the United Nations, and a lot of other cool places like this. Can we give a warm welcome for Gina Rosero? She's a model. She's taking photos. Thank you.
Hello. How's everyone doing? Standing up for March for trans equality. It's so good to be here. Our bus literally just pulled in, so it's meant to be, right? right? That I'm here. Let me start by saying that I stand here as a very proud transgender Filipina, as a very proud trans immigrant, born and raised in the Philippines. Yes, I am. I love you. I have to say the journey has it's been long, both literally and figuratively. Growing up in the Philippines, yes, I speak with pride and honor in the culture that I've had in the Philippines, but for so long it was not the case. Growing up in the Philippines, as I walk down the streets, growing from home to school, in the Philippines we have this public transportation called tuk-tuk, and every time I would walk from home to school, the men, usually the men, tricycle drivers, would scream this word to me, "Bakla! Bakla!" Spoken in that tone is the most derogatory term that you could say to a young, trans, feminine girl like me. And when I moved to New York City to pursue my dream as a fashion model, and after many years of living in the closet and living stealth, I say to myself that I've had enough. Enough of the shame that I felt that the world is telling me that I am not the person that I am. After many years of believing what people expect to me as I am, I've had enough. And the reason why we're all here, because we've all had enough. We've all had enough. We're standing here because we deserve every right just like any human being. The community that have long understood and loved us are here with us, celebrating us. And we're going to take this and we're going to be as loud and proud as possible. We're marching here also as a young and proud immigrant growing up in the Philippines, a country that's been colonized. A country that have long understood gender fluidity in so many of my culture. A country in our surrounding countries in Southeast Asia that have long understood gender fluidity. The Katoys in Thailand, the Hijras in India, the Fafafine in the Polynesian culture, and the Babaylans in the Philippines. They are my inspiration for me to remember that my people, my community, my ancestors have always been here since the beginning of time. They're not going to erase us, and we're not going anywhere. Thank you so much for having me here again. It is my absolute honor. Thank you.
Yes, Gina. Love me some Gina. All right. So, without further ado, our next speaker is Araya Lester. Araya Lester is a nationally awarded author, speaker, and educator. She currently works as Deputy Director of the Transgender Strategy Center and a board member on the Equality Florida's Trans Action Florida Committee, and helped to create the Trans Art Series with the Betsy Hotel, the LGBT Visitor Center, and the ACCU. Please give it up for Araya Lester.
My sisters, my brothers, my siblings, my family and friends, we are here. We are here. All of us gathered together in memory of those that we have lost to suicide, lost to violence, lost to death and darkness. We are here because every single one of us has grown up being put into a box. No matter who you are, no matter what color your skin is, no matter the way that you express yourself, we all know that we want to just be us, individuals. We are here because we're tired of being unemployed and underemployed. We are tired of only having to engage in sex work. We are tired of being your outreach people and your peer navigators making $10 to $12 an hour. We are tired of fighting for our country on foreign soil and then being told that we are no longer fit to serve. We are tired of our murders going without any justice and our murderers out there free. We want to be free. And that's why we are here. Let me hear. We will not be ignored. We are here. We will not be ignored. We are here. Thank you.
Thank you, Araya. We also want to thank the Coalition for Labor Union Women, Mosaic, Trade, which is where we will also be having the after party starting at 1 p.m. after we have walked. We also want to thank the DC March Lodging, the Community Church of Washington, D.C., Princess Janae Place, Inc., Can't Stop, Won't Stop Consulting. I love these names. Our community is so awesome. Our next featured speaker is Justin Nelson. He is the co-founder and president of the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the business voice of the LGBT community, and the largest LGBT economic advocacy and business development organization in the world. In addition to over 45 affiliate chambers in the United States representing America's 1.4 million business owners, NGLC leads economic development opportunities at over a dozen international affiliates. Justin regularly advises senior leaders at the White House, in Congress, and corporations throughout the world to build business opportunities through commitments to LGBT-inclusive supplier diversity programs. He's sought after at conferences and meetings around the globe promoting the business case for LGBT inclusion and creating equity for the LGBT business community. Join me in welcoming Justin to the stage.
You know, that introduction was amazing, other than I haven't advised this White House, but if I could, I'd tell him to get the lead out on equality. This is absolutely disgusting what's going on here. It's absolutely disgusting what's going on here. Before I get started, and I know I'm the last thing between all of you and the amazingly talented, wonderful Angelica Ross, and then our march, but I do want you to take 1 minute. I want you to thank the organizing committee of this event because we wouldn't be here without them. Give them a roarious round of applause. Thank you. You know, I'm going to keep it real. I stand up here knowing that I have male privilege. I stand up here knowing that I have white privilege. And I want every one of you to know that I care, that NGLCC cares. We are your champion, we're your friends, and we're your family. And I am just I don't know, I'm so emotional about today and about all of you being here. Take a moment, look to the person next to you, hug them, and say thank you for being here. Take a moment, please do that. Are you fired up? Are you fired up? I'm fired up. You know, when I think about 24 lives that aren't with us today, just this year alone, I'm sickened. And the reality is, whether you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, non-binary, We are a part of the economic fabric of this country. And we don't stand here today because we need to. We stand here today because we have the right to. This is our country, regardless of who's in that White House or who controls the Congress at the end of the street. We have 1.4 million LGBT Americans that are job creators, that offer health care, that are a part of this small business engine that makes our economy run. And every single one of us should be able to get up in the morning, go to our job, and not worry about being discriminated against or fired or killed. So today I am here to march with you, to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and to let you know that together we are going to change policy. We are going to make sure that people know that LGBT Americans, that our trans community is strong, that we are here because we deserve to be here, and we are a part of the American dream, and nobody can take that away from any one of you. So to all of you, thank you for being you. I have learned so much, and I am so proud to be your ally and to be your friend. And let's get this march going. So thank you very much. Have a great march, and we're here.
All right. Thank you so much, Justin. All right, we have a couple more amazing speakers for you, but first, we want to recognize all of our amazing community sponsors. We have the DC Center, the Asia Pacific Islander Queer Society, Trans Lifeline, San Francisco Community Health Center, Trans Thrive, Many Voices, the LCLAA, Labor Council for Latin America in Advance. We also have the Global Justice Institute, the Baird Rustin Liberation Initiative, the Korean Queer and Trans in DC, the POZ Magazine, DC Trolley Center of Excellence for Trans Health, and Impulse Group DC. So, without further ado, I want to introduce our next speaker, the amazing, the talented, the superstar of Pose and American Horror Story, Angelica Ross. All right, hold on. Angelica continues to engage leaders both at home and abroad, teaching and entertaining and consulting for organizational change that creates space for rich experiences of trans people and people of color to speak, share their value, and create lasting success. As a devout Buddhist, Angelica walks with compassion and believes that all people have worth. It is only a matter of helping each other find it in themselves. Please join us in welcoming our keynote speaker, Miss Angelica Ross, to the stage.
Listen, I am so excited to be here, and those of you that know me and know the work that I've done for years know that I'm always about bringing more trans women into the conversation. So before I bring my word, I made sure that when I knew this march was happening, I turned to my sister. I was like, "Sister, are you going to the march?" She was like, "Well, I'm really busy. I'm on TV talking to the Young Turks, and I'm talking to people and getting our word out there." I was like, "Yes, sister, please do that in the media, but we need your voice here at the Trans March because you are important." So I want to just lend a couple of my minutes, give away my time to my sister. Let's welcome her to the stage, Ashley Marie Preston.
I'm going to keep this very short. For some of you who don't know me, I'm the auntie who doesn't always get invited to the family functions. Because I'm the auntie that's going to tell you when your chicken is soggy, your cornbread is stale, and your greens are bland. Because I'm the auntie that knows that we can't heal what we don't reveal. I'm the auntie that knows what Audre Lorde said to be true, that master's tools won't always dismantle master's house. I'm the auntie that know that I am the descendant of brick throwers. Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera have laid the foundation that many of us benefit from today. We need to put more respect respect on the people who don't have college degrees. We need to put respect on the people who are sex workers, who are in the trenches, who are showing up and they're putting their bodies and their health on the line. We need to take back our narrative. We are not victims. We are not statistics. We are not tragedies. We are waiting to thrive, and this is our best year yet because we aren't here simply to be visible. We are here to be victorious. So when we move forward today, let us press forward with purpose, let us press forward with passion, and let us know that the fight has just begun. So if you are a girl that's hipped in with heels, I hope you brought flats, because we're here to get messy, we're here to get real, we're here to get honest, but more importantly, we are here to save lives. So give yourselves a round of applause.
Listen, that's how you do it right there. And that's how we share the mic. You understand what I'm saying? When you recognize a fire in your sisters and you know they got something to say and you know they're going to say it right and you know they're not going to care about respectability politics, pass the mic, sweetie, pass the mic. I want to thank you all for just inviting me here and for showing up. I have to tell you, as soon as I landed, my eyes were filled with tears because I could not believe how beautiful everyone looked that came together. People come from far and wide to let people know that we are here to show up and show out. I know that this march has been trying to happen for a couple years now. And I want to stand here and apologize to you for not standing up sooner, for not coming here sooner, because people reached out to me and they were like, Angelica, we want to do this march a couple years ago. And I was like, listen, I don't want to be the lightning rod, because I know as soon as somebody says my name, there's going to be trauma. Some of us don't like each other. We don't like when this person is doing that. We don't like when this person is doing that. But I told myself, I said, regardless of what the situation is, I'm here to love on my community and support my community and show that I'm here. So I'm willing to do the work. I want to uplift our elders, those who know that there's a lot going on in our community, and I want our elders to come together and say, baby. Our elders to show our youth how to hold their power, how to wield their power, and not burn themselves up in the process. Because we need you here. We need to not be fighting each other. I'm talking about racial justice and trans justice, and we are fighting for trans justice, meanwhile fighting in our own black community. We are fighting our own black cis het counterparts to understand that being black and being trans are not mutually exclusive. And so we find that we are having a fight in our own community, but it doesn't stop there. Because many of you know that just within the LGBT community, scratch that, just within the trans community, scratch that, just within the trans people of color community, that we have got to heal. We have got to learn not to come from a place of trauma with each other. We have got to learn that when one girl succeeds, it's not a trickle-down effect. No, it don't automatically affect us. But we know that there's one more of us in the space that can do something. Yes, hold the people who we lift up into these spaces, hold us accountable. I welcome you to hold me accountable. Because those of you who have known me before American Horror Story, before Pose, before Claws, let me do my resume, before Transparent, before Doubt on CBS. I mean, you know, y'all knew I was doing workshops, leadership workshops with the National Trans LGBTQ company, with HRC, with all these companies, even when they weren't prioritizing us. I was there. And Chicago, oh, somebody threw out that one. When I worked at Chicago House in the Trans Life Center. I've always been here. And I've always also been a creative. And what I want all of us to understand is that I know you have dreams. And I know that our dreams didn't always include the battle. I want us to get to a time where we can put down our armor and return to our field of dreams. Because there are things that we were meant to do that aren't just about fighting. We have talent. Some of us have spiritual talent and power. But I want you to focus on building that power and building that talent and know that you can do advocacy work from wherever you are. But that activism and advocacy, as many of us know, don't pay. It just don't. Maybe it does $10 to $12 an hour sometimes, right? But even those girls don't even have a lot of decision-making power because they're put into coordinator positions. They're not put into management or director-level positions. But we're in the building. And what I want us to do is learn how to do a strategy that is from the inside out. That we don't look at each other as enemies, but we know, okay, that girl's on the inside. I'm working on the outside, rattling the cage, but we are working together. And I want you to please understand, be willing to do the work. Being trans is not enough. Listen, so many people, they want to say, listen, well, I got a story to tell too, because I've been on the street. I said, hey, I did too. Let me remind you, I was sucking dick in the margins too. Let me remind you, I was shaking my itty bitties on the website too. But instead of being exploited on these websites, I learned how to run the website. That's my vision with TransTech and with working with folks. Listen, we're underfunded. We are underfunded, so we do as much as we possibly can do. But please, let's not tear our sisters down that stand up to do something. Because we have to know they don't have the same funding as these other organizations have. These girls are doing the best that they can do with what they were given. Some of these girls are opening up their kitchens and their homes and feeding the girls, and that's all that they can do, but that's enough. Because somebody's willing to do something. And I just want to encourage you all to do something. Don't just talk about it, be about it. I know that there's a fever pitch right now. When people see me on TV, there's a fever pitch. And girls are like, I want to be on TV now. I want to do this too, and I want to do this, and I want to affirm you that you can be anything that you want to be. But you're going to have to start somewhere. Okay? We all got to start somewhere. If you want to sing, baby, sing at that bar mitzvah. If you want to sing, baby, sing in that choir. Build that resume. And so that when you walk into a building and you walk into a position, you know that you're there for more than just being trans. Because you know that's what they're trying to do to us, to tokenize us. I've been there. But when you are more than trans, they cannot deny the power that you hold. So when you walk into an office position, please know how to type. Please know the minimum qualifications for the job. Because what we know is there are people within our community that do have the qualifications. Please let them do the work. If you ain't got it, girl, stand out the way. Move out the way. And in the meantime, get yourself somewhere where we can support and help you and build you up so that you do have the analysis to walk into that space. We want you walking into spaces prepared. We want you to conquer. We want us to win together. So today, I'm with Lynn Morrison. I want us to call a truce. If I've offended you, I want us to call a truce. To call a truce, Lynn Morrison. I felt you when you said that, because when I set foot on here, all I could hear was, well, I don't deal with that bitch. And I don't deal with her, and I don't talk to her. Well, how do you expect that we are going to get free without talking to one another? We got to put our egos aside. Listen, we all been doing this work without pay, without recognition. And then a couple of us have been tokenized for the pay, and then made to look like we got some kind of freedom, but let you know they ain't got it either. But when you speak truth to power, whether you are paid to or not, that is the place to come from. I wanted people to know their power. They cannot give it to you, and they cannot take it away. So I just want to say, Trans Tech is here for you. We are an organization that is only about the people. I, as CEO and founder, have still yet to take a salary, and I won't now because the girl got her other bag. I got the other bag. And still use that bag to fund the things of Trans Tech. I'm asking for your support, and what that looks like is that I know that every one of you has something to offer. Every one of you has something to teach. Every one of you can make space at your table. Create a table and make space for your brothers and sisters. Let's stand in solidarity with our trans brothers. Listen. I love my sisters Janet Mock. I love my sisters Laverne Cox. I love all my trans sisters out here doing it for the culture. But because you know we got a culture that's fixated on controlling women. So that's a lot of reason why they're fixated on controlling trans women and our narrative and giving us this spotlight and killing us in this spotlight. But while we hold this spotlight, let's make sure that we lift up everyone in this community because we are all being affected by this. And we can all find a way to stand up and support each other, right? Amen. So I want you to repeat after me. I am here. I am here. Yes, ma'am.
When I say trans, you say power. Power. When I say trans, you say power. Trans. 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 Listen, I'm asking you all for a commitment today. This was the inaugural National Trans Visibility March. But 2020 is the year that we need to be here. 2020 is the year that we need to be here. So everybody, here is your formal invitation to join the national organizing team. On October 15th, we will release on the website for you to sign up to be a part of the national organizing team for 2020. I want everybody to take their phones out. Take your phone out. I'm going to bring Bailey's mom. Everybody say Bailey. Everybody say Bailey. We're going to get this right for you. Bailey, we're going to get this right for you. This is the family of Bailey, and we invited, we had a lot of different contacts through the website, and so this young man named Cole, who is my brother, my trans brother, contacted us, and he had made a beautiful banner, and it's a banner that will lead the parade. It has each of those young ladies that were murdered. I want us to stop saying she died. She didn't die. They killed her. She didn't die. They killed her. Call it what it is. And so I've invited her family to join us and to say a few words, and I want you guys to welcome them as they come. Say her name. Bailey. Say her name. Say her name. This is what it's about.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor Reeves. I am Bailey Reeves' sister. September 2nd, okay, which one should I do?
Whichever one you want to use.
September 2nd, 2019 was the worst day of my life. I lost my little munchkin. The person who I could argue with, laugh, and joke with, and who I could always count on is gone. I'm hurt and crushed, but this is my time to make Bailey's name known and shine. Bailey was fearless, creative, funny, intelligent, and had such a giving heart. I was Bailey's older sister, but Bailey taught me so much. Bailey taught me how to do my lashes, my edges. Bailey would always tell me, Taylor, you need to do something with your hair. Bailey used to dress me. When I would go out with my friends, Bailey would pick my outfits out. I admired Bailey. Bailey had such a bright eye. Bailey was so strong. Because Bailey was strong, it is only right that I stay and remain strong. It is now my job to help teach and educate and even learn myself about the transgender community. Transgender people should be admired and loved every and each day. They are some of the strongest people I know. I say they are strong because they experience and go through some of the worst and most disgusting situations that many of us cisgender people couldn't ever imagine. They experience so much hate and jealousy, which is something I don't understand. Let that person live and be who they are. If they aren't bothering you, then why does their sexuality matter? People who have so much hate and are always concerned about trans people clearly have insecurities about their own sexuality. To the trans community, keep fighting for your rights and continue to stay strong. You are human just as everyone else in this world. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. We are here to fight for a difference, and change is going to come. Thank you, everyone.
So listen, you have your phones out, right? Our website is transmarchondc.org. This project was a $1.5 million project. And so for 2020, we need your help. We need your commitment. We need you to not just show up, but to help us, to be a part of the decision making, to be a part of the programming, to be a part of who does this and who does that. A lot of people felt left out this process. And so I apologize. But here is your formal invitation. October 15th, we will start mobilizing for 2020. HRC, GLAD, and other people will support us as we move forward. If you look at the logos that are on these things, it's a logo that's missing, and the logo is Gilead's. Gilead gave this organization or national organizing team $500,000 to build this project in the beginning. And they didn't even want to be recognized. $500,000, and they didn't even want to be recognized. My good sister, Diana Olivia. Diana, wave your hand. Where are you? Diana, thank you, thank you. So listen, we're getting ready to get started, but we'll each have a card in our hand, and we're going to call these names as we get ready to march. I thank everybody for coming out. Make sure that you join us at Trade. There is an after party at Trade on 14th and P Street. It's 14th and P Street Northwest from 1 to 6. So leave. And here's the most important thing. So let me introduce you to who will be taking us on this walk. We're going to say the names, and then the names will be the last thing that we do before we march. Let me introduce you to the new Maria Roman. I don't know her title. The president of Trans Latino Coalition. Listen, the Trans Latino Coalition has the most experience in taking us where we need to go on this next journey. But the most important thing about this journey is that we keep you safe. So we're going to give you some safety, and then we're going to give you some instructions, and then we'll be ready. Y'all ready? When I say trans, you say power. Trans, 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 trans.
I'm back. Just a moment. That is my sister, Marissa. Front and center, please. Marissa. why we're here. We need to acknowledge our sister Marissa Miller. We need to lift her up. We need to hold her high. And the reason why I am being bombastically bodacious about this, folk talked about her. They had something to say about her. They critiqued her background. They critiqued her skill sets. They critiqued her ethics. And yet, we are here, are we not? Are we not here? Are you on your feet? We are here, are we not? Do we get everything right the first time? No. We make mistakes. Do we not make mistakes? But we will strategize next year and come back bigger, bolder, and better than ever. Will we not? And you will participate and you will help her and support her and hold her. Yes, that means your check. That means your leaves. That means your money. That means your time. That means keep your mouth off of Marissa Miller. Keep your mouth off of Marissa Miller unless you bend it in a knee and speak a word of prayer. Hold her high. Hold her high. Don't read, love. This is our sister Marissa. Give it up for her. 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 This is a black woman. This is a black woman. When the last time you see this many black folk marching for something other than black, black, black? This is a black woman that brought us. Lift her up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cole, and I'm from Rochester, New York. So I ended up here today because I contacted Marissa and the organizing team a few months ago because I wanted to do something to honor the specifically black and brown trans women who have been murdered this year. So the banner will be near the front of the line for the march. And I also wanted to recognize that we are all we have at the end of the day. And despite the marginalization that we face due to our identities, an imbalance of power and privilege still exists within our own community. I'm not here to ask, but to beg each and every one of you to leverage whatever power and privilege you have, if you have it, and use it to empower, love, support, and protect those who are most deeply marginalized in our community. But this alone is not enough. I'm here not to ask, but to beg that you allow those who are most deeply marginalized, our transgender sisters of color, to lead this fight as you support, empower, love, and protect them. We didn't make it this far because of people with privilege and power leading us. We are here today because of the Marsha P. Johnsons and the Sylvia Riveras who faithfully and resiliently paved the way. We have a responsibility to one another to come together regardless of where we are in our journey, regardless of race or religion or sexuality or socioeconomic status. As it has been said, there's no pride for some of us without liberation for all of us. We must demand that society stops killing our sisters. We must echo that black trans lives matter. And today, before we march, we will say their names.
Bubba Walker, Dana Martin,
Laylene Palenko,
Kiara Quick, Bailey Reeves,
Tracy Single,
Kiki Fantroy,
Ashanti Carmen,
Jaslyn Ware,
You call their names. Call their names. Call the spirits. Call their names.
Beloved. Beloved Slater.
Hola, mi gente! My name is Maria Roman. I'm the Vice President and Chief Operations Officer for the Trans Latino Coalition.
¿Dónde está mi gente latina? Woo! My name is Alexa Rodriguez, and I'm the Director of Trans Latinx DMV.
Where my young people at? Yes. My non-binary people? Okay, yes. My name is Michelle. I'm the policy coordinator for the Trans Latina Coalition. And before we start marching, I know all of these speakers have been super powerful. It's been really emotional. It's been very sad. And so I'd like to ground us in this moment with a couple collective breaths so that we can prepare to march and take on DC. So if everyone could inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and this last one, hold in. Inhale. We are walking with those that we've lost. We are walking on those that were of the Piscataway peoples. We are on Piscataway land. And we are walking for all those that did not have a chance. Exhale. Now can everyone turn to whoever they're with, to the person next to you, and say, I got you. I see you. And we're gonna fuck this shit up!
It is an honor for the Trans Latina Coalition, the Latino Coalition, to be the Grand Marshals for the first inaugural National Trans Visibility March. I want to personally thank each and every one of you for being here today, because you could have been somewhere else and you made a choice to be here today. With that said, we want to give you some instructions so we can all be safe. So please, let's all march in love, peace, and look out for one another. We want everyone to be safe today.
Super bilingual. Por favor, hay que marchar en paz y amor y que todas estemos seguras.
In an emergency, we want to make sure that you reach out to our safety team, who are all folks in safety vests. Police should be a last resort.
Okay, yes. Por favor, asegúrense de hablar con el equipo de seguridad si necesitan algo. La policía sería el último recurso.
In the event of a violent attack or emergency, do not panic and get to a safe space.
Si acaso sucede un evento violento, por favor traten de no asustarse, pero asegúrense de estar y llegar a un lugar seguro.
Make sure that you hydrate. There is porta potties here in the back and first aid stations.
Por favor, hidrátense. Hay baños portátiles y primeros auxilios durante la marcha.
Refer to our frequently asked tab at our website if you have any questions throughout the day at transmarchondc.org.
Cualquier otra pregunta, por favor, entren en la página web transmarchondc.org.
Lastly, this march we are marching for those who do not have the opportunity to be here with us today. With that said, I want to recognize 2 Latina women who have not been included in the list of folks that we have lost to violence. Roxana Hernandez y Joanna Medina, both who died in the hands of systematic oppression in detention centers.
Por último, esta marcha es para todas las personas que no están aquí hoy. Quiero reconocer a 2 trans latinas junto con las 19 trans mujeres que no están aquí y que han sido víctimas de violencia, como Roxana Hernández y Joanna Medina.
I also want to recognize that today's march, the Trans Latina Coalition has brought a 180-foot trans flag that was handmade by trans women in Los Angeles that will lead us in the march. So it's going to take a lot of people. So when we leave here, we will have one person that will sing. And then if you can go grab a piece of that flag to carry it down Thursday, we would appreciate it. Now some chants. When trans people are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When trans people are what do?
Stand up, fight back.
When I say trans, you say trans.
Power.
Trans.
Power.
Be safe, love one another, keep an eye for each other. Let's have a performer. God bless you all, and let everybody know that you are proud of who you are.
Now introducing Dr. Tyrone Stanley singing Rise Up.
Broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move mountains. We're gonna walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. I know you feel like dying, but I promise you we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains. We're gonna do it, you'll see.